Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and on today's episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about the effect of shipping delays on our industry, whether it be small businesses or whether it be on the consuming end for big supermarkets. Today's presenting sponsor is the Coffee Roasters Mastermind group with our new group head coach, Ante Bikic. Ante is the national Danish roasting champion for 2020. He's about to head to the Worlds to compete in Taiwan and hopefully become the world coffee roasting champion. Ante brings a wealth of knowledge to these mastermind groups, and you can head to mapperforward.org/group coaching and see the syllabus that he's laid out for the next 4 months in this mastermind group, and see if we have a spot available in a time zone that works for you. So, what's going on with shipping and why are we talking about it on the podcast? We have been speaking about some interesting things going on with the economy, the global economy. And on a recent conversation that we had on this podcast with Logan Mohtashami, what we did uncover is that despite his belief that everything's going to be fine and, everything is in a huge expansion and the world is going to be celebrating, etc., etc. It was all like very, very positive from Logan. We did definitely uncover some things that he, as an economist, agreed with about the challenges around the shipping situation. And how, even though his belief that GDP is up and that it will continue to go up because people are creating things again, with trade, that's a completely different story. So when we have trade coming in from other countries, it's heavily dependent on the state of the shipping industry to determine the success of the trade that we're doing. And in a recent Sydney Coffee Town Hall, which incidentally we are now doing virtually, if you would like to attend every month, they will be available. You can check out our social media or head to mapperforward.org/Sydney Coffee Town Hall, and we have the information up there. But we were talking about this specific thing in the Sydney Coffee Town Hall this past June. And what we spoke about was similar to what I spoke about with economist Logan Mohtashami, is that we are noticing containers are in very short supply globally, shipping containers. And so what you have is 1 million bags of coffee sitting at mills, waiting to be shipped to the ports, waiting to be transported to the ports in containers. It's not that they don't have trucks to get them to the ports, is that there are no containers in Guatemala to move 1 million bags of coffee. Now, if you can't get the containers and put stuff in the containers, you can't put them on a ship. And if you can't put them on a ship, the ship can't take anything to where it needs to go to. So that's one challenging part of what's going on in the shipping industry that absolutely affects directly the coffee industry. But another thing that's happening is that the ports around the world are experiencing such severe delays that whereby the turnaround time of a ship coming into a port, unloading and leaving may have been 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours at a stretch. Now what we're seeing is that it's weeks, that shipping, big ships have to sit off the port and wait for weeks before they're given permission to come into the port and unload. And because the turnaround time is so tight, they're unable to reload those ships with empty containers. And so for the time that they're in port, it's all about offloading. They don't have any time to put more containers onto ships and then send them back out so that they go back to where they were coming from with fully loaded empty containers. The third thing that's becoming a really dangerous thing around the world is the influence of COVID on ports. So the second busiest, or it may be the equally busiest port in China, in the south of China, a month ago experienced a serious COVID outbreak. And what we are seeing from that a month later is that with the severe lockdowns that are happening and the constraints that are happening at that port, it could be a very long time before it ramps up to full speed again. And because of the delays that are driven by COVID restrictions at that port, stock can't move out and fewer people can work there. And that's causing delays to get stuff out of China over to other countries that need it. Now, those things could include packaging. Those things could include equipment that we need for brewing or product that you're selling to your customers or whatever it is. As we spoke about with Logan, he's particularly well-versed in the housing market. That's his specialism. And what we're finding is that the rate that houses are being built, lumber cannot keep up. The supply of the wood that's needed to build houses cannot be sourced quickly enough because of their shipping delays. So it's stretching into every industry that we're seeing. Now, on top of that, and we'll talk about this in the next episode, we're experiencing serious issues with the supply of coffee itself in some regions, and I'm going to leave that for the next episode. But all of these constraints on top of a steeply accelerating C market price plus differentials, which we'll talk about in this next episode, are all leading to challenges that are going to affect your business. So the shipping industry is but one of the challenges that you're being faced with quite intensely right now, and you need to be across it. One thing we didn't talk about was the cost of shipping. All of these constraints are pressing firmer on the pricing. So the pricing to ship things right now, people are being offered a premium, and if they pay that premium above the usual price, their shipments are getting prioritized. So this ends up, not only is this inflating the price of shipping, but it's turning it into a highly competitive environment to have your stock prioritized. And a lot of the time what you're seeing is that people are requiring you, because of these shipping delays, importers are requiring you to pay for your coffee upfront, months in advance. Pay for it in full, in advance, and we'll promise that you get it when it lands. But when it lands, nobody can say, because we're at the mercy of shipping companies. This is the reality of the situation that we're in, and I just wanted you to be across it. Stay tuned for the next episode of the podcast, where we are going to talk about what effects supply and pricing are having on the supply chain. Give us a like if you enjoyed this episode. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.